right, good Tuesday afternoon, everyone. Thanks for stopping by for a check of your forecast. Hope everyone's doing well today. Sorry for a delay on your live stream this afternoon. We've had some hiccups here in the Weather Center, mainly with some of our other computers, but we are remoted in with our laptop and we have got everything that we need in order to get you guys the forecast. So we're going to go ahead and run through things. It is pretty quiet out there. It is December 30th, year of our Lord 2025. We'll soon be saying 2026 here in less than 48 hours, but we're looking at the infrared satellite imagery as well as the water vapor imagery. You can see we've got some clouds streaming in over portions of California. We've got some dry air aloft over our heads here in the Amarillo area and the Texas Panhandle. Now let's go ahead and run you into the rest of this forecast. We have got a lot of sunshine out there for today. Did have kind of that cold start there in the 20s, but we have worked our way back up to around 60 degrees this afternoon across most of the area. Still some higher 50s around the region, but temperatures not far from above normal. We are still a little bit above average, but it's not a crazy hot day today. As far as winds are concerned, we are pretty calm at 0 to 15 miles an hour. They are from the west and the southwest, and that southwest wind is going to be a big driving factor as to why we are going to stay warmer than normal for the afternoons for the foreseeable future as well. Here's your lows for tonight. We'll tumble to the mid-20s, which is pretty standard for the end of December. We'll tumble to about 25 in Amarillo, 21 in Dalhart. And then looking at your planner for tomorrow for New Year's Eve, a lot of us are going to climb back up into those low 60s again. So it's going to be a beautiful afternoon. Wind's going to be relatively calm, so I would get out and enjoy those outdoor activities if you've got them planned. Again, it should be a really nice night as well for any festivities that you've got planned. Otherwise, just maybe take that jacket with you. It is going to get a little cold. We'll fall down into the upper 30s by midnight. So if you're going to be out there watching some fireworks shows or lighting some of them yourselves, make sure you're doing that responsibly. Just make sure you're doing it outside the city limits. Again, it is illegal to discharge those fireworks here in Amarillo within the city limits. We've also been very dry the last 8 to 12 weeks. We have not had much moisture in December, if any, in some areas. So the grass is very receptive. We've had some fires around the area recently in some of those windier days. So if you are going to, again, partake in any of the fireworks, just make sure that you're adhering to burn bans around the region and you are being very cautious with that because the grass is receptive to a spark and an open flame. Let's go ahead and run through the computer model. For the next 2 days, we expect, again, that trough to really just kind of continue to sag to the south. That'll start us off with a north wind on Wednesday morning. As we get into the afternoon, we'll climb back into the 60s for high temperatures on Wednesday and our hump day. And then as we move into the new year, we may get this really subtle backdoor cold front. You can kind of tell where it's at up here on the computer model. You've got a lot of these low clouds and kind of that northeast wind. We do think that it'll probably at least creep into the northeast panhandles. Areas like Canadian and Perryton might have a colder day on Thursday, and we are expecting a fair bit of cloud cover on Thursday as well out ahead of our dry line. Again, your dry line would be moving in from west to east. So probably a little colder over here in the warm sector under the cloud deck, which I know is kind of counterintuitive, but ample sunshine and a westerly wind, downslope winds should help us warm up if you're out here in the southwest part of the Panhandle and back into eastern New Mexico for New Year's Day. There are a few models suggesting that a lot of this moisture is going to be aloft. So you could see that the model's trying to pick up on a little bit of some sprinkle activity there Thursday afternoon. I'm very hesitant to say that we'll see measurable rainfall since all of this is Pacific moisture and not Gulf moisture. There's a lot of dry air underneath it. And so if we don't have any moisture below the plume of moisture from the Pacific, then we probably won't get much to the surface anyway. A lot of this will be that virga that evaporates or sublimates before it gets to the ground level. So I wouldn't expect any moisture on Thursday, maybe a couple of sprinkles here or there. I just don't think it's going to be measurable, but we will see quite a bit of cloud cover for that first day of 2026. Now, and this is the driving feature through the first 7 days of the new year as well. That ridge of high pressure really going to be the driving factor as to why we're going to have temperatures above average. They're not going to be record setting per se. But that ridge, just given its placement over the next 7 to 10 days, is what's going to keep us very quiet here in the near term. I do think that we need to keep an eye on this booger out here that's just off the coast of California. There is some semi-persistent troughing that's going to be stuck out here as we move into the new year. That's going to keep California and the Sierra Nevadas very wet with a lot of rain in the San Joaquin Valley. We're going to see a rain-snow mix, especially as you get up into the higher elevations in the mountains. That's going to transition to a lot of snowfall out there towards Lake Tahoe and Yosemite National Park. Those areas are expected to see quite a bit of winter weather with that system over the course of the next 7 days. The question is, does this ridge break down, and do we get this thing to kind of drive into the Four Corners region? If it does, then maybe after our 7-day tracker, we will start talking about maybe a potential brief change in the weather pattern. Should we get a cutoff low to maybe a good squeeze into the desert Southwest and work its way into the Lone Star State? That's still highly unknown right now. There's a few models that do suggest that that's a possibility. There's other models that suggest that's not going to happen. So there's not much consistency as we get past day 7. And so we don't want to talk about definitives at this point in time. But if a cutoff low does work its way through the Southwest U.S., maybe around that January 8th through the 12th window is probably when we would have that next potential storm system to talk about. But for now, it's going to be above average temperatures, as you see here. Temperatures mainly in the 60s and the low 70s. The average high is 51 this time of year, 52 as we get into January. And so we are going to run above average. And then as far as the moisture goes, as we get to January 4th through 8th, you can see that they do have, again, most of that above average precipitation really just kind of smothered across the Southwest U.S. and Southern California. The question is, do we get this thing to progress into the South Plains? If it does, then we might have something to talk about, again, probably around January 8th, 9th, 10th, or 11th. But for now, again, that's outside of our 7-day tracker. So here's what it looks like for the next week. Temperatures mainly in the 60s in the afternoons. Winds, fortunately, won't be much of an issue for us. Again, I would still be cautious if you are, doing some grinding, welding, things like that. The grass is receptive. Just make sure you've got a way to put out a fire if one does inevitably start. We are in the dry season. Grass is dormant. It is receptive. So make sure you're doing your part to prevent those wildfires from starting. The good news is our winds hopefully won't be too much of a burden, so we don't expect any large grass fires over the next 7 days. That's all I've got for you guys this afternoon. Thanks so much for stopping by. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we will see you this evening.